Hey, it's Clay. If you are looking for a way to make extra money and just looking to get out there and do some sort of side hustle, I want to share something with you that is not theory. So none of this in the coming video is going to be, well, I think it works like this and it should play out like that. If you do, no, this is not theory. I'm going to be using a real life example so that you can see this is a side hustle that can and will make you extra money. Of course, you need to follow certain things and do kind of approach it in a couple different ways, which I'll talk about. But from an overarching perspective, yes, if you are looking for ways to make extra money, then this is a side hustle, and it's a great idea, in my mind at least, and I think you'll agree to see just how powerful it is, that should be considered as at least a choice. But like I said, no theory here. We are talking, and I will be using real life results. So what is actually needed though for this side hustle that's going to help you make some extra money? Well, first off, you just need some sort of device, phone, tablet, desktop, laptop, just some sort of device that can get you connected to the internet. So then you would also just need the internet. And then this is very, very important. You need to have the desire to make and save money. So what do I mean by that? Well, Clay, of course I want to make money. That's why I'm watching this video. That's true, but you need to, for this side hustle to work, you actually need money in the first place. So you're gonna need to actually get out there and want to make money so that you can actually use some of that money for this side hustle, which requires you to also save that money. So if you have another side hustle already going, awesome. You just gotta make sure that you're gonna save that money and set some money aside for this. So that is a very, very important thing because yes, full disclosure up front, it does take money for this one. So this is not one of these strategies where, hey, get started with no dollars. No, you need some money. So as long as you can either create another side hustle, maybe you have a part-time job where you can start to set some money aside, cough, cough, save money. But those are also going to be two very important things that are needed. So here are these real life results, and I'll get more into what you're actually looking at as we go through the video here. But just from like I said, a top-down perspective, this person started with $400, I'll round up. And then right there, they ended with, again, I'll round up, $5,200. So I'll say that again. They started with $400. So yes, some money was needed. Was it an extreme amount? No, $400. And it ended with $5,200. And the time frame there was just a few weeks. So it's not like this happened over years upon years. No, just a few weeks. And $400 to $5,200. And to add another layer of context in the sense of this is not theory, this actually happened. This person I've talked with on my podcast that I offer, and their name is Orville. So when I refer to Orville, don't worry, that's not some voice in my head. It's not some sort of split personality. This is an actual person, and like I said, I'll talk more about this as we go. But like I said, no theory here. This is all reality. It's all possible. And this person, Orville, he's got this side hustle because as you see there from the title, he has a full-time job too as a police officer. So he's his full-time job, police officer, but he's got this side hustle to make some extra money, which is what we're going to talk about here. So, and this is definitely an uncommon strategy because the first part of it, I wouldn't be surprised at all if you've heard of it. Maybe you've already kind of looked at it from one perspective that most people do. But to go through the little story here of Orville, Orville's getting started, and he's saying, I want to make some extra money. I have a full-time job, but I have some other, personal financial goals, and, I want to get my budget as fortified as possible. I want to get some cash flow. So yeah, I want to make some extra money. So he eventually, heard about the stock market. And like I said, maybe you've heard of the stock market. Maybe, well, Clay, I've already looked at the stock market. Please just keep watching, okay? Like I said, I want to peel back a little layer here because a lot of people, they see stock market and they say, oh, it's a stock market, so therefore you use stocks to make money. And that is totally a logical thought process to have. You are not stupid. No one is a moron for seeing the stock market and then automatically assuming, jumping to the conclusion, oh, you use stocks to make money. Totally logical, but it's actually incorrect. Kind of incorrect, and I'll get to what I mean here. But there's more to the stock market. So let's actually look at, peel back some layers. The stock market is kind of like an onion. It's got multiple layers to it. So one of these layers is that there are objects that depend on the stock market. So yes, the stock market plays a role, but it's not using a stock in and of itself. So one of these objects, that depend on how, depends on the stock market, So ready for some cool kid lingo? If you want to impress your friends, just start to use this terminology and they will, wow, I'm impressed. Options, or more specifically, options trading. So options trading, options are just one of the layers that come with the stock market, and it can be a great thing. So the problem though with this, with the stock market and with stock trading is this. So right there is Amazon stock. And that is how much you need for one stock of Amazon. Now, technically, it's one share of Amazon, but we won't go down that rabbit hole right now. But if you just want one stock of Amazon, that's how much you would need to get started. So if I want to use the stock market, and because you can do all this stuff online to make money, so I want to. Oh wow, I need $1,800 just for one stock of Amazon. Ooh, that's different. That's not a huge amount of money, but it's definitely. That's not a small amount of money either. Or you can do something like this with options trading, which is what you saw, where you can get involved with $400. So get involved with $400 or get involved with $1,800. Big difference there, right? And that's why a lot of people, I would call this uncommon, because the common strategy would be, oh, I use the stock market and I use stocks. And then they come across these situations where it's, oh, wow, $1,800 for one stock, that's a bit rough. But options trading, you can get involved for much less amounts of money. So let's build some perspective here, because I don't want to mislead. I don't want to build any false expectations. So therefore, we're going to get put on our hard hats. Let's build some perspective. Now, while this is totally possible, I mean, it can happen. Your consistent goal should be more so what I'm going to talk about. Because if you go into this thinking that is what's going to happen every day, and unless you do something close to that, it must be a total failure. It's not worth your time. That's not accurate. Possible? Absolutely. It's totally possible, and it happened here. But let's look at more so consistent and what you should be expecting and looking to do. So here we have another example from Orville. So this is all from, to use some more trading terminology, this is all from his accountant statement screenshot that he sent me. And I have a community of people that do this sort of stuff. So we're all like-minded people. We're all basically side hustlers, right? Most people have jobs, but they're just looking for extra ways to make money, and they're deciding to use, the financial markets, the stock market, options trading to make that extra source of income and just create some extra money for themselves. So we all hang out together in this community, and part of that community, I have the podcast for that. So that's kind of the next little branch of context there. So like I said, he sent me pretty much his bank statement. It's not really his bank statement, but it would be called a trading statement. And that's where all these, that's where this information is coming from. But another one of his trades, so you can see right there, he started with 428. So again, the money he needed to quote unquote get involved, just $428. Again, not a small amount of money, but by no means some sort of massive amount of money, not $1,800. And then right there, he ended with 546. Now I can see you saying, oh, that's it? That's actually not good. But like I said, we got to build perspective. The actual gain was 27.62%. Once again, this was just in a few weeks. Nothing crazy, nothing like, wow, okay, what was the return on that? 10 years? Okay, at that point, things are maybe a little bit different. But a couple weeks, and we'll build some more perspective on that. Let's take a look at a couple more of his trades. So right here, started with $406. He ended with $473. Again, don't wait, that's it? That's 16.38% in a couple of weeks. How about this one? Started with $656, ended with $778. 18.52%. And this right here is a very important building block of perspective. So I want you to do this. If right now maybe you're saying, that's it? But that first one, it was so big. And now, that's not it. Do this. Get out Google and just best bank CD rates. CD just stands for certificate of deposit. So this is one way that you could technically be a side hustle to make extra money. This would be one form of quote unquote investing your money. You put your money with a bank CD, and that bank CD is going to pay you an interest rate. Now remember, a lot of people that hear interest rate and they think automatically, oh, an interest rate means I have to pay to somebody else, like my car payment or my mortgage payment. No, in this situation, these are good interest rates. These are interest rates that are being paid to you. or, in more investing terminology, these are return on investments, meaning you are investing your money into something and it is returning you back more money, which is what options trading is. One form of investing is options trading. You are putting your money into something, you are investing your money into something, and then that quote unquote something, in our case, options, it is returning money back to you. Same principle with bank CDs. You're putting your money with some sort of bank and they will give it back to you. So, all right, well, how much are they going to be giving back to you? Like I said, so run a Google search like that. That way, if you're watching this video, 10 years from now, yeah, these rates will be different, but the process is the same. Use the technology available to you to figure out what the best bank CD rates are. So at the time of this video, that's what I found right there. And if you're not quite sure, yes, 1 year. Remember, everything else you've seen up to this point has been a couple of weeks. You know what, let's just call it 1 month. Everything you've seen up to this point has been in 1 month. Even though it's not true, let's just say that. So 1 month, we've seen 16% and 18% and 26%. And then the first one, which was over 1,000% actually. Here we have 1 year, 2.25%. 1 year, 2.15%. Oh, wow. 18.5% in 1 month or a couple weeks. That actually looks pretty good, doesn't it? That's actually pretty crazy. Almost, is this actually real, Clay? Is this some sort of like get rich scam? No, it's not, because we have more building perspective to do. But I hope you do see how powerful this is, because this can be done from anywhere as long as you have that device and you have the internet. Let's circle back. Oh, I don't know, Clay. That's actually pretty crazy. 2.15% for 1 year or 26% in 1 month. What's the catch? What's the catch? Is this some sort of scam? No scam, but there is a catch. Because if your plan is to kind of try this as a side hustle or not be totally serious about it, which does work at a kind of a normal quote unquote job, right? And I'm not saying you have done this, but I'm sure you've had coworkers or you can relate, or you've seen a situation where people just aren't giving it their A+ effort at work. But I mean, does that really matter? Because they're still getting paid, right? They're getting that paycheck. They're there. They've clocked in. Maybe they're on salary, but they're just kind of trying, or they're not really being totally serious, but they're still making money, right? It doesn't really matter. Now, of course, well, Clay, they could get fired. That's true, but for the time that they have clocked in, for the time that they're there collecting salary, you can kind of just be trying. You can just not be totally serious. However, you're still making money. However, that's where all the buts come into place. If that is what your plan is for option trading, then, and this is not, I mean, I find these images pretty funny, but it is true. Stay away or just run, okay? Just get out of here, because that is not going to be the type of game plan that is going to work for options trading. The stock market is a very vicious place, and it will cause you problems if you show up with I'm going to kind of try, or I'm going to get partial knowledge. I'm just going to learn just enough, or they're just not totally serious. I mean, that is not what you want. So here are some more results from Orville. And this is why Orville, I have the utmost respect. He's not trying to hide anything. He's being totally transparent in his trades. But here was another one where he started with $468. And maybe you noticed this already, but hey, wait a second, Clay. Usually in that area under proceeds where it ends, there's some sort of number there. I don't see any numbers there. What exactly is going on? Well, let's look right next door, and you can see that he ultimately lost everything on that one. So he started with 468, but he ended with 0, meaning that money is gone. And this is not a video game, so there is no reset button. These funds are not government insured. For those people in the United States, there's no FDIC that backs these funds. So, I mean, they're gone. Somebody else in the market now has that $463 or $68.33. It is gone. So this is a side hustle that can make you great money, and you can do it from anywhere. But if you don't treat it the way it needs to be treated, or you just kind of put in an effort, you can also lose money, and you can lose money pretty quickly. So I want to be very upfront about that too. This is not some sort of situation where you just roll out of bed, you kind of try, and then all of a sudden you're, swimming in cash at the end of the day. So really it breaks down to you have two choices. You can use options like an at-home casino, or you can use options as a source of income. Now, I've talked about requirements, and those requirements are true. You just need a device, you need the internet, but these are the requirements that actually matter. So if you want to just use options like an at-home casino, honestly, you don't have to do that much. You can probably watch a couple YouTube videos, maybe run a Google search, learn a little bit about options trading. Hey, I'm good to go. Just be very careful. Hey, for the services that sell signals, and just be careful for that stuff, okay? But, that is one way you can use it. Oh, I'm just going to buy some sort of recommendation service or you're just going to very, very half-heartedly, put in, we'll call it 50% effort, 60% effort. And and all of a sudden of course you're not going to say, hey, I'm using this as a casino, but that's what you're doing. Or it requires that. So there's two choices. You can be a gambler, or you can get out there and be a hustler. So up front, stay away if you're not gonna be a hustler. If you want to just be a gambler, I'm not saying you won't make some money, because you'll make some money, but eventually the market will take it all back from you. So I want you to just realize that up front. This is such an awesome way to make some extra money. It's a great side hustle if you take it seriously and are ready to put in the effort that is required. Once again, this has not been theory, and I've used Orville, but I want to show you some more areas that you can see some hustling in the real world. So as I said, I have a community of people that, like I said, are side hustlers. We're out there looking to make extra money. Iron sharpens iron. You want to surround yourself with quality people. And over the years, I've been doing this since 2013. The community has built itself up to the point where I have a podcast where I interview other members just so we can help motivate, inspire, share our stories with each other so that we know that, hey, you're not alone. Oh, you've had some struggles. You've had some success. Well, let's talk about those. And then that way other people can benefit from them. So like I said, I already talked about Orville and, his journey so far. But if you're curious and want to see more about how this options trading, how this all works out in the real world, and get a good glimpse into kind of more of a practical and a just almost a reality show, but not a scripted reality show, like this is real life. There's been other options traders that I've talked with. Sean, one of my favorite episodes, $250 into over 10,000, and that's a great number. That's awesome. But like I said, think back to, she was not sitting on her couch, just popping Doritos. She had to get out there, hustle and grind. So there's a great example of that. That's episode 57. Again, $900 into $40,000, quitting school. And that's episode 8. But again, if you want, I get it, the numbers are, oh wow. But listen to those episodes. You'll see that, yeah, great things are possible if you do, and the if you do's are going to, be what you get in those, episodes. And then another great one, $400 into $29,000 with Maquan there, and that's episode 212. So the name of the podcast, if you want to check it out and get, like I said, more, there's lots of other episodes. But like I said, if you want to skip to some of these ones so you know that you're going to be hearing from somebody that's doing this option trading strategy, then you can go to those episodes. But it's on iTunes, Spotify, or if you just go to claytrader.com/podcast and then use the search box, then you can just search for the titles and these will pop up and you can just listen right on the site. So whatever makes your life easier. But options trading is a great side hustle that should be considered if you're just looking for the way to make some extra money. So if you found this video helpful, a few requests on my part. First off, please just hit that like button. Also leave a comment down below. That goes out on that goes a long way. I'm not going to quite ask you to subscribe. I will say, hey, at least check out the channel. And if you find the channel beneficial, then yeah, please subscribe. I'd love to have you as a subscriber, but I'm not a big fan of when people ask for you to subscribe after you've watched 1 minute of their video or you've seen just one video in its entirety. So I'll just say check out the channel, and if you enjoy what you see, if you believe it can help you, grow your finances, kind of take control, build some wealth, then yeah, I'd love to have you subscribe. If you are interested though in going and surrounding yourself with some of these people, like I said, this community that I offered, you can learn more about the community at claytrader.com/team. And Orville, these are the type of people that are hanging out in there. Iron sharpens iron. So if you're looking for, you want to surround yourself with other like-minded people that want to make extra money, that want to grind, that want to hustle, that want to just get out there and, beast mode it, then like I said, I do offer that online community, which you can learn more about at claytrader.com/team. But if nothing else, and if you enjoyed this video, then again, please hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and I look forward to hearing from you. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.